Hi, welcome to Bethany's Kitchen. My name is Bethany, and today we are going to make strawberry, balsamic vinegar, and black pepper jam. And it's going to be awesome. I'm going to do a step-by-step. We're going to take you through how to do it. And at the end, I'll talk about the different ways that you can actually use this very amazing jam because there's so many. And sometimes when you make a jam, you're like, cool, now what? What do I do with it? Do I just put it on toast in the morning? And absolutely, you can do that. But there's so many other uses for this jam. It is, I promise you, incredibly versatile and delicious. Next thing we need to note is I make all of my jams low sugar. So I have ADHD. I also have PCOS. And so I like to keep the sugar intake a little bit lower. I have a kiddo who has ADHD as well. And so early on in the younger days of my kiddo's life, I wanted him to be able to have all the jam, but also because he's a kid, I didn't want to do these 6 cups of fruit and 7 cups of sugar and then have him just sit and eat a jar of jam for a snack. With this, it is 4 cups of fruit, and I can do half a cup of honey. I can do 3/4 a cup of sugar or any other sweetener. And it's a lot less. And so I don't feel bad. And to this day, as a young adult, he will just crack open the jar and just eat it straight from the jar. Sometimes he puts it on things, but usually he just eats it out of the jar. And it's awesome. So I want you to have the opportunity to eat jam out of a jar. It tastes like a fruit delight. And I think that's what we all want in our jam. Maybe not. I do. If you do, keep going. All right, let's get set up with all the ingredients that you're going to need to make this jam. All right, first up, let's get our ingredients. When I make this, I prefer to use Hood strawberries. So really what you're looking for is something that's a little bit sweeter, packs a punch with the strawberry. Next, you're going to want a balsamic vinegar, black pepper, sugar, and I use Pamona's Pectin. So why Pamona's? Pamona's lets you make jam with low sugar. So there's probably other pectins that you can use out there. My preference just happens to be Pamona's. So don't feel like you have to do Pamona's. You just, if you're doing low sugar, need to have a pectin that allows for it. So that's what you need in order to get started with the jam. Go wash your berries. It's time to get to the good part. So when I am cutting strawberries, I'm looking for a couple of things. I'm looking for any soft spots. So I bought these at the farmer's market, which means they had to travel and they are not necessarily a shelf-stable variety of strawberries. And that's okay because I personally think that they make the best kind of jam. Strawberries. So I saw this thing on TikTok where everyone was like, in Europe, we have real strawberries. When you slice it, it's red all the way through. I just picked these up at the farmer's market. And it's like, yeah, that's what my farmer's market strawberries look like too. So, important note, when you are making strawberry jam, one of the things that you want to take into consideration is the variety. So there's plenty of really good strawberry varieties out there. You can have Hoods, there's Mary's Peak, there's Albion, there is like a Seascape. Yeah. I think we can all agree that now's a great time to insert a story because you've been cutting those strawberries for a little bit and you're like, huh, you just kind of go through half a flat of strawberries and that's what you do? Or maybe it's a little less. Anyways, story time. In the 70s, early 80s, as a wee one, I grew up in a neighborhood that had not filled in yet. So there was still land space and there was lots of gardens. In fact, my parents had a double lot and the second lot was filled with a giant Santa Rosa plum tree that we used to climb up the tree, tossed down Santa Rosa plums to everyone. And it's like a hot day. And so it was like eating pie because it was magic. We'd go stop for a break and drink water out of the hose. And not because like we couldn't go inside, but because like, why would you go inside when you had all of this magic around you? So we had Santa Rosa plum trees, we had raspberry bushes. You just raspberries on all the fingers and you'd run around, and then you'd eat them. And then you'd go back and you get more raspberries. You'd like flip up blueberries and you try to catch them in your mouth because they were like perfect for that. We had everything in this space and it was magical. And all the kids down the dirt road would come up the dirt road and we would all run around. One day, this bulldozer shows up. There's no conversation that's had with the kids. You know, it's not like today where it's like, so things are going to change and here's what it looks like and here's the reason. And, you know, you sit down and you explain that like your entire childhood world of your summer of running around carefree is coming to an end. There was none of that. So guy shows up in a bulldozer. Okay, I need to cut real quick here. So my dad was in a union. He was an electrician, electrical union, IBEW 48, I believe. And when I was really little, I would hang out on the picket line with him and all the other electricians whenever that was a thing. So I learned how to yell at people who were crossing a picket line. And this is just what you did. Like that's just how, it's just how you expressed what you needed. Bulldozer. Okay, we're flipping back. So bulldozer. And so guy comes in the morning and literally starts bulldozing everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? This is my childhood. You're taking everything. I can't even believe it. And it was so distressing. And so I did what any normal, logical 8-year-old would do. I ran in front of the bulldozer and I told him to stop. I mean, obviously he did. I'm still here because that would have been rough. I don't think I would have made it against the bulldozer. But apparently I really traumatized him. So in the process of him trying to figure out what to do with this 8-year-old, I got all the neighborhood kids to come and yell at the guy to stop. And so then he had to talk to my mom. And so then my mom had to talk to me. And my mom told me, so look, turns out that's not our property anymore. I'm like, property, what does that even mean? She was like, we don't own it. You can't go on it anymore. I'm like, I can't go onto my playground anymore? She was like, no, you can't go onto your playground anymore. I was like, what the shit? I didn't say that, but I'm sure I would have thought it if I knew that that was a thing. And so I told her, show me where the property line is. And she was like, Bethany, please just do not let it go. And I was like, nope, you show me where the property line is. She showed me where the property line was, and I stood right up to there, and I just glared at the guy because apparently I wasn't supposed to yell at him anymore because that made him sad. So to that guy, if you're still alive, I'm super sorry. I didn't know. I just didn't want you to take out my playground. So, all right, back to strawberry cutting. Now that I'm at the halfway point for the berries, what I'll do is I'll actually go in and mash them. Again, if you want, use a masher, do the thing. I'm going to use my hands. All right, we're at 4 cups. Strawberries. 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper. With the balsamic, one thing to know is this is the acid for the jam. And the importance of the acidity is that it is going to destroy anything like botulism. And nobody wants botulism. All right, let's add the balsamic.
Three, 4, 5,
6. Now we're going to mix it up. It's delicious. This is going to be so good. All right, all right, all right. Let's do it. Now we let it simmer, bring it to a boil. Once it gets to a boil, we're going to add in the pectin. And I have a little trick for the pectin because with Pamona, sometimes you can end up with clumpies, and that's not delicious. Okay, the trick is simple. You put sugar or honey. You put 2 teaspoons or whatever amount of Pomonas. You mix it up, and then you put it in at the point of boiling. I did it wrong when I made this, so just pretend that I added the sugar in with the Pomonas at this time, and everything will be great. Is after we put in pectin, we bring it to a boil. That's going to dissolve the pectin, and then we transfer everything to a jar. Pretty cool. Okay, let's walk through it. So we do that and then put everything into the hot water bath for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, we'll be back. All right, after your 10 minutes are up, you're going to pull the jam jars out and wait to hear that magical pop. You'll see the indent there to indicate that it is pressurized and jamified. Now that we've finished up our jam, let's talk about how to use it. You can use your jam on toast, ice cream, yogurt, charcuterie, meat, all sorts of things. Just use your imagination. Sky's the limit. All right. Thanks so much for joining in our first jam making experiment. Until next time.